Thank you everyone for joining us. And of course, you, the viewer, if you are watching this in the recorded virtual library, you'll want to join us next time live, because that's when we get to have that exchange, that in-person connection of sharing ideas and experiences and being a part of the community. And that's why we offer these things with AARP Florida, so that we can join together if it works into your schedule, and we can be here sharing this same time and space. Or if you need to watch the recording, you can do that too, and then you miss out on this fellowship. And fellowship is just so important. We need that as human beings. We are really social creatures. And I think that's part of where the pandemic and the quarantining and the social distancing and the isolation or the reduced travel recommendations have affected all of us. And then depending on who else we have in our household, it can be lonely. And that's really why Michelle and I wanted to offer this series over the next 6 weeks. I am a professional resilience coach, and so I like to share resilience skills and train and offer tools that you can have in your toolkit, resources that you can use, because there are days when the world is big and scary, or we feel all alone, or we feel disconnected, or we just feel grumpy, or we just feel sad, and we don't even necessarily know why. And there are a lot of times when we're just not sure what to do about it, because intellectually we know that we're okay, but we're combating these emotions that bubble up anyway, right? Or attitude, or we're lethargic. And we just don't really care about anything, and we just don't really want to get up and going, and getting dressed for the day just seems pointless, because who's going to see us anyway, right? There are a lot of things going on, a lot of changes happening. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I'll share some ideas with you. I invite you to play along. That's what this is, a workshop. So this is as a seminar, especially if you've joined live, and what a gift this is that you are giving us the opportunity of sharing some time with you. So I invite you to join along with us and play along, so that we can make the most of the situation and experience it, because then you can tell me if it worked for you or if it didn't, and we can try some other things. So let me share my screen now. This is the series that AARP Florida and I have teamed up to offer. And you're joining us here on this day for the gift of gratitude. And these are the gifts of resilience that I'll be presenting over the course of the next 6 weeks. And we hope that you come back, and that you join us again, and that you share the information. Bring a friend or a family member. They don't have to live in Florida. You can spread that email, share the invitation to other people. So more is better. We've got room for lots of people to join us, and we would like more friends. So today is the gift of gratitude. Gratitude is an emotion, it's a sensation, but it's interesting because it affects our biochemistry. Our brain and our heart rate and our blood chemistry actually respond to emotions. And the emotion, the feeling of gratitude, is what happens when we appreciate something. Appreciation, that is gratitude, thankfulness. It actually opens our hearts, that sensation of opening up and expanding, instead of being closed or withdrawn or sheltered or crusty or bracing or protected. Gratitude softens us, and it opens us, and it allows for better flowing of all sorts of things. And it helps us feel better about life. And that portion of the feel better is really the attitude, the outlook. And this is really where head and heart make that connection. When we talk about mind and body, the mind-body connection, gratitude specifically lets us play around with the connection of what we think, or what we're taking in from the outside world, the things we're hearing, the things we're reading, and then also our emotion, and then how that affects our outlook. So it's all connected, right? So how we feel here can sometimes then affect how we approach the world, how we see it, what we're motivated to do, what we're thinking about, our opinion, our attitude. And so it all feeds each other, this head and heart connection. Being grateful helps to put our focus on the good things happening, even if it's only a couple things, there are good things happening in our lives. We often lose sight of that. And this is because of something called the negativity bias, which is a default in our brain. And it just is, it's how we're wired from ages, from ancient years ago. And it was helpful. It was part of survival because it was really more significant and more helpful to remember the danger of the saber-toothed tiger if we left the tribe or if we ventured outside of the cave. That was more significant and more important to remember the hazards than it was to remember the beautiful field of daisies we had discovered the day before or last week, or to remember something kind that happened or something nice that happened. That was nice, but it didn't necessarily keep us alive when there was danger outside. And that's how we survived, and it's good. That's part of what's called our ancient brain, and it's wired in us. It really is. It's interesting how DNA and neuroscience and biology all come into play here. But these days, we don't have a lot of saber-toothed tigers, and our negativity bias, the way our brain looks at the world, is that it will often pick up on, it will hear better, it will remember more, and it will recycle over and over again the negative things. And it just does. And so our brain highlights and reminds us what's going on and what's bad and what's scary and what's fearful. And we then have to take a concerted effort to bring in and balance it in our brains, the positivity. And that's called the power of positivity, the function, the positivity function we have to do, because the negativity bias is natural and that's just happening. So we have to help keep it in balance, in operation. Being grateful, then, when we can focus on the good things that are happening, even if they're just minor, even if they're just little, when we can remember and realize that there are good things happening, it helps us shift our perspective. We don't stay stuck in that negativity, in that swamp, in the muck, in the yuck, in the dark. Gratitude helps us come out into the light. It reminds us that there still is goodness, there still is humanity. And it's about really that aperture. So if we, sometimes when we focus in really, really tiny, all we see is that piece. And if we focus on the ugly, we see the ugly. But it's when we pull back and we open up our lens, which helps us also open up our perspective, our heart space. When we open up wide enough, we can see all that there is, and the all includes goodness, not just the headline. Okay, so practicing gratitude is what we're going to do today. This is our hands-on practical exercise. These are the playing that we're going to do. And I'm offered, there is a lot we can do, but in our short time together today, I've brought up three skills, three resilience skills that I'm sharing. And those three are: find the good stuff. So we're going to practice finding the good stuff. And then the second resource, the second skill, is having a gratitude journal. And we're going to practice gratitude journaling. And then the third resilience skill is called heart coherence, the heart coherence or quick coherence technique. And we're going to practice that also. So these are the three skills I'm going to share with you today. First, let's find the good stuff. And this has everything to do with your daily actions and your choices, your options of what you're taking in, what you're ingesting, and then what you're doing with it. So what we take in comes in and it affects us, right? So what are we hearing? What are we reading? What are we saying? What are we watching? What is happening all around us? And then where can we choose to dilute or to decline the servings? Just because it's being offered, just because it's available to us, doesn't mean it's good for us. Don't take it in if it's not good for you. You can decline. If we're at a cocktail party and the server's going around saying, would you like this bacon wrapped something or other that sounds really delicious? If it's not good for you, don't take it. So sometimes we need to find the delicious. And I'm not so concerned today about cholesterol. So take that bacon wrap date. It's yummy. Let's talk about what we can do, what is in your control. There's so much that's not in our control. And that is often when the world seems big and scary and overwhelming. So make those changes to bring it in and make the action and choose to do what's best for you, what's good for you. What is the music or the books that will help you? It's a bit of escapism, perhaps, but it also helps redirect thinking brain that can take over that analyzer, that commentary, that opinion, the editor, that's all that committee in our head that is constantly telling us all the stuff that we're also hearing from the outside world or from even our household members. If we have differing opinions on things or differing characteristics or differing personalities, do the things that feed your soul, that feed your heart. And we do this by feeding our head. Bring it in. So watch uplifting things. Find those. I know that the stereotype, the joke right now is, the cat videos, the silly cat videos that people escape with because we're ignoring the rest of the world. If that brings you a smile, if that gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling, do it. What helps you? Are you dancing? Can you do a spontaneous living room dance party by putting on some of your favorite music or music from way back when, or new music if you've got younger folks in your household or neighbors across the hall? Maybe it's time to get up and move a little, because we know that changes our chemistry and our outlook by just moving our bodies. There are some fabulous online resources. There are inspirational blogs. There are Netflix shows. There are YouTube channels. There are websites that are filled with positivity, with uplifting, inspirational, happy moments that you can share or listen to or watch or laugh. If comedy helps you, go find some nice, just heartwarming stories and go there. Limit your intake of the big, heavy stuff that's going on. It's one thing to be a conscientious citizen, to be informed. That's one thing. But it's another to take in and feel the weight of the world day after day upon us, especially in this era, these days, of needing to be distant, of needing to stay home, of needing to respect other people's health and habitat. And so if we don't have that connection and the community and that fellowship that is so important, it actually changes our blood chemistry, it changes our central nervous system when we have contact. And often if we live alone, we're not getting those hugs that we would get if we had lunch with a friend or a group of friends. We're not getting that up close and hanging out and laughing and joking and not caring about anything and remembering funny stories of the last adventure with family or friends, because we're not visiting right now. So do what you can. Find the good stuff. Okay, let's go on to ours. So here's the challenge. Here's the homework. Decide right now in this moment, as you're listening or watching this or being here with me, decide that perhaps for this week, between now and when we meet again next Tuesday, for this week, every day, do something to find some good stuff. Every day, do one thing every day to find some good stuff for you. Do it every day for this next week. That's your homework. Okay. Now, another helpful tool, another resilience skill for the gift of gratitude is to actually keep or start, if you haven't, to have a gratitude journal. And a gratitude journal is as simple as a piece of paper or even your phone, the notes app on your phone, or an actual notebook, or a beautiful binder or journal, right? Journals look like all sorts of things. So we have lots of options. whether you like to type on your laptop or iPad, your tablet or your computer, or whether you like to write it out in person by hand with pen or pencil or crayons. Colors make life more fun. I think that always helps me feel better. So just having colored pens and colored pencils and colored crayons, that makes me already better. So here's the challenge. So each of you do this now, please, whatever your medium choice is, paper or electronic. Please write down, stop and think for just a moment, and write 3 good things that have happened today for which you are grateful. And here's the thing. Sometimes the day is really lousy. Sometimes these whole last few weeks have been heavy and thick and dark, and I'm not in a good mood, and this isn't helpful, and I don't have 3 things to be happy about today or to be grateful for, because you don't know my life, and it's really hard for me right now, and I always feel like I'm on the edge of tears, and I can barely, keep my breath and hold it together, and I don't have good things going on, and this skill really just kind of pisses me off. And that's where I say, I know, I've been there. I have been there. Which is why sometimes the biggest, best thing I could be grateful for that day was that I had clean socks and I could find them. And I was able to put them on because I have chronic back pain. I have a back injury. I can't always reach my feet, right? So sometimes it's that simple. Breathe here and be honest with yourself. In today, just today, and I know that we've got the big things, right? The general things of, I have a friend who likes me and I'm grateful for that. That sounds good and that can be all right on the page. But let's actually be really personal and let's make it appropriate for this moment. Put a name to that friend. And then maybe it's even as much as, I thought of, and I'm going to use my friend Michelle. I thought of Michelle today and it made me smile. That's what I'm grateful for. Yeah, I know I have friends, but sometimes they're not here in the moment and I'm irked or I'm grumpy and I just am. And so it's not helpful to me that I have friends because I'm still just feeling really punky. But then I stop and say, you know what? I really like Michelle's sense of humor. And then I remember one of the last times that we talked or a joke we shared. And then I can calm down and say, yeah, I am grateful for Michelle because she makes me smile. So be specific. Be real in this. Life sometimes just sucks. It does. Life is a difficult journey. Life is not for wimpy, weak people. Life is for those of us who can persevere. Life is for those of us who can reach out to one another. Life is for those of us in humanity, in this collective sense of, yes, we're in this together. I got it. And I know you're in a swamp. I see it. And girl or guy, my friend, you're not alone. I'm here. I'm over here. I'm on the high ground. Actually, nope, I'm in the mud too. I'm in some different mud. But I'm here with you. I can hear you, I can see you, and we're in this together. So have you written your 3 yet? I've been rambling. You've got 3 items on your first page of your journal, your gratitude journal. And now say them out loud. So you're muted. We're not going to hear you, but now I want you to each read it. You say it out loud. What are you grateful for? Just say it to yourself. You're going to be silent on our microphones. So here's what's really interesting, and here's the neuroscience behind it. My background is neuroscience. That's what I studied in college. Our brains take in information in different areas of the brain, depending on if we see it, read it, or if we say it, that's a different area of the brain, or if we hear it, that's another area of the brain. And the more areas of the brain that take in a message, that's how many more times it gets magnified or reminded or amplified, right? That's how many more times we get that message. And because of that negativity bias, we hear the negative messages all day long. Our brain picks up on that. Our brain takes that in. We need to say 3 times as many good things as we take in negative things. That's just how it is. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. That's how it is in our brains. That's just how we're wired. So when you write it down, that's one expression because you've thought it. So you write it down. When you read it, that's another part of your brain. And when you say it, that's a third. And when you hear it, that's a fourth. And now, woo, you are building your resilience. You are helping your brain and your body really get the message. Do this every day. Have this gratitude journal be your daily reminder. Some people find it very helpful to do in the morning when they first wake up, and they think of things from the previous day, and that helps motivate them to get through this next day. Because there are some times lately where I haven't really wanted to get out of bed. Like that, why bother? And I'm just not motivated, and I don't feel like it, and I have a headache, and I feel yucky, and I don't, it might be the weather, and it might be menopause. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just not into it. I'm just not motivated. So sometimes having a gratitude journal really helps us get grounded. It's that few moments, it's that 5 minutes in that morning where I say, all right, I said I would, this is my homework, I'm gonna do this, and this is what I remember from yesterday. These were the 3 things. Okay, all right, you know what? I actually feel a little better. Now I'll get up, I'll have my cup of coffee or my cup of tea. I'll get dressed, I won't stay in my pajamas all day. Other people, they benefit more when this is at night. And then it helps them release their day. It also, when we feel gratitude, when we feel goodness in ourselves, it releases chemicals. It releases hormones. Hormones are chemicals, but it releases the feeling good chemicals that soothe us, that comfort us. And if you're having trouble sleeping these days, having a gratitude journal is something that can also really help you ground and remember, and then sleep well and treat yourself well for the next day. Here's our third skill, and this is what we're going to do together. So I'm going to sit back here. Heart coherence is a form of meditation. And don't turn me off. I sometimes say the word meditation and people just walk away like, oh, I don't meditate. Meditation is really just another word for breathing or paying attention to our breathing. Sometimes that's what you can call meditation, being still, kind of just shutting out the world, ignoring the world for just a few minutes. And that's what we're going to do here with our last few minutes before I stop the recording, and then we can talk and share and have fun for those of us that are here live. This is called heart coherence. What is coherence? Coherence is a measure, in this case, heart coherence is a measure of the pattern of the heart's rhythm. So coherence also kind of can mean clarity or the pattern, how something vibrates and how it's interpreted. Because, right, if we hear somebody say something and if they are incoherent, we're not understanding. We don't understand what they've said. They are incoherent. Well, our heart and our brain, remember I talked about how our head and our heart have this connection. There are a lot of times, because of all the stuff we take in, all that heavy yuck, all that static, that our head and heart become incoherent to each other. And our heart is actually the pacemaker. And I say that on purpose because we have a technology piece, right? A device that is put in to help our heart keep a natural rhythm, a regular rhythm called a pacemaker. Our heart is our body's natural pacemaker. Our heart is the source of the rhythm, of the synchrony of everything that goes on, our immune system, our breathing, our thought pattern, our heart rate, our feeling anxious that happens in our head, but it's related to how our heart starts fluttering, and then our stomach, right? Our stomach gets in knots. That is all part of what's called the natural body's coherence. So when we are in coherence, all of our functions, all of our internal organs and our machinery that keeps this wonderful chassis, this vessel of our soul called the human body, all of this physical structure works easily and more smoothly. It is calmer when we don't have all that static, that frenetic, you know what I'm talking about, right? You can feel it. It's just that unease. And we operate better and we feel better when we're at ease. That's what we're looking for. Let's be at ease. So let's work on this. So we're going to do this for about 2 minutes. So first, get a comfortable seat. Put down your pens, lean back away from your tablet or your device for a moment. And just let's start out by just taking 2 breaths of getting settled. So inhale through the through the nose, and exhale through the mouth and sigh it out. And wiggle a little, kind of shift and change. Let's do it again. Inhale through the nose and sigh it out. Okay, now, if you're comfortable doing so, close your eyes. If you're not comfortable doing so, make your eyes soft and heavy, as if you're just gazing down at your lap. Turn your palms up as they rest in your lap. And take some breaths to feel your body breathing. Bringing in the breath through the head, through the nose, into the belly. Exhaling, feeling it. Now, bring one hand to your heart. Bring one hand to your heart and the other hand is still on your lap. With eyes heavy or eyes closed, pause and focus and breathe and find your heartbeat. See if you can feel it. Sometimes we feel it actually in our chest, in our being, more than we feel it from our hand. Now bring the other hand to your belly. And as you breathe in, let your belly get big and soft with the breath in like a balloon. And as you exhale, the belly pulls in a little, it empties, and it pushes the breath out. Feel the warmth or coolness of your hand on your chest, on your heart space. As you feel the breath moving. Now, because we're choosing the emotion of gratitude, feel gratitude. Create that in your being. And often that requires us to use our head by imagining something. Imagine a person or an occasion, a memory, an event. Call up in your mind the source so that you can feel it right here under your hand. Feel what gratitude feels like. And with the breath, feel your heart expand and your chest expand. Emphasize this sensation of feeling gratitude just with breath. And now pretend that you're breathing through your heart space, through your chest, even though we know, our head knows that the breath comes in and out through the nose or our mouth. But let's pretend that we're breathing in and out through our chest, feeling it expand and open and soften. And then allow your head to come in again and allow your mind to observe how your body feels after 2 minutes of sitting with focused breath and welcoming a sensation, an emotion. And then take a great big breath in And breathe it out and come back into your full body experience, which usually means bring your brain back on, bring thinking mind back to the forefront, since that's where most of us live. And that's who takes charge of things. And this is the end of today's seminar with the 3 resilience skills that are the gifts of gratitude. I have some resources because usually the number one thing at the end, everyone says, can you tell us where to go? Here are just some. These are just a quick handful that I use regularly and that I thought of, so I listed them. There are so many more. There are so many more than I could list in one place, and you all have additional. So here are some that you can use and explore them, see what works for you, find the good stuff, and then share it with friends and family and neighbors and coworkers and people who might also need more good stuff in their lives. You may also reach me directly. You can reach out. I am a resource, and you can email me at q.wellness.llc@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. I enjoy fostering fellowship and making new friends. That to me is a key piece of being human and being here in this world. And so I welcome it. I invite that.